The roar of the crowd shakes the stadium, but all eyes turn not to Cristiano Ronaldo, the legend everyone knows, but to the boy walking beside him, Cristiano Ronaldo Jr. His face looks calm, but inside his young mind, questions are burning. Cameras flash, reporters scream, fans chant his father's name, yet hardly anyone notices him. For the world, he is not just Cristiano, he is Ronaldo's son, and that shadow is both his greatest gift and his biggest curse. From the very first day of his life, he was not just a child, he was a story. Born in 2010, but already on headlines before he could even walk. Imagine growing up and realizing people you've never met know your face, your name, and your family secrets. That's the life of Ronaldo Jr. But here's where the story gets darker. Fame, which brings his father glory, often leaves him with pressure he never asked for. In school, when other kids play freely, he has classmates who whisper, "That's Ronaldo's son, he must be the best." On the pitch, every time he touches the ball, the crowd expects magic. Every mistake feels heavier, every missed goal louder. He isn't judged as a boy. He's judged as the future of one of the greatest players in history. There are whispers that sometimes he gets tired of it, that he has asked his father why strangers always stare, that he wonders if he will ever be free to just be a kid. Because while millions dream of living in Ronaldo's shoes, his son sometimes feels trapped inside them. And here lies the question that nobody dares to ask out loud. Does Ronaldo Jr. secretly resent his father's fame? Does he wish, even for one day, to walk into a stadium and be known not as the son of Cristiano Ronaldo, but simply as himself? This is not just a story of football. It's a story of identity, of struggle, of a boy carrying a name so heavy it could either crush him or turn him into a legend of his own. The world saw Cristiano Ronaldo Jr. as a prince born into football royalty. But behind the cameras, his childhood was far from ordinary. While most kids learn to ride bikes in quiet neighborhoods, he learned to dribble a football under the watch of thousands. When he joined youth academies, crowds gathered not because of the matches, but because of him. Imagine being 10 years old and having your goals posted online, compared to your father's highlights. Every flick, every run, every smile turned into headlines. Cristiano Ronaldo's son scores again. At first, he seemed shy, almost uncomfortable. He loved football, but the eyes watching him were never just curious. They were demanding. It wasn't, "Can this boy play?" It was always, "Can this boy be better than Ronaldo?" That is a pressure no child should carry, yet it clung to him like a shadow. Even at school, he wasn't just Cristiano. He was the son of the man who had conquered Europe, the man with 5 Ballon d'Ors, the man called the greatest of all time. Teachers, classmates, even parents of other kids, everyone expected him to be different. He once admitted to close family that sometimes he wished people would just forget the name and see him for who he was. But that wish was impossible. Fame never forgets. Cristiano Ronaldo, the father, noticed it. He knew his son's smile sometimes hid the weight he carried. And yet, he also knew that the world would never go easy on him. That's why he pushed him hard in training, teaching him not just how to strike the ball, but how to carry himself like a warrior. The lesson was clear. If you carry my name, you must also carry my strength. But deep down, Ronaldo Jr. didn't want to just carry his father's strength. He wanted to prove that he had his own. And so, a silent battle began inside him, between living in the shadow of greatness and stepping into his own light. As he grew older, the fire inside Ronaldo Jr. began to change. No longer the shy boy hiding behind his father's fame, he started showing flashes of independence. On the pitch, his movements grew sharper, his goals more confident. He wasn't just copying his father, he was carving his own style. Videos of him scoring screamers or dribbling past defenders went viral, but this time, something was different. People weren't just saying, "That's Ronaldo's son." They started whispering, "This boy has talent." And yet, the comparisons never stopped. Every article called him the heir to Ronaldo. Every fan shouted his father's name, not his. Fame followed him like a shadow too loud to escape. Some nights, he would sit quietly, away from the noise, wondering if he could ever truly escape it. Could he ever be Cristiano Ronaldo Jr.? Slowly, Ronaldo Jr. began to embrace the spotlight, not fear it. Instead of shying away from the chants of "Ronaldo, Ronaldo," he started smiling, raising his hand, and letting the world know he wasn't just there because of his father. He was there because he belonged. But even with this growing confidence, one question still haunted him. Was he living for his passion or for the expectations of others? It was a question that only time could answer. The bond between father and son became the heart of the story. Off the field, Ronaldo Jr. wasn't just a boy in the shadow of fame. He was a son who adored his father. They trained together endlessly, mornings at the gym, evenings on the pitch, holidays filled with drills that looked more like games. To outsiders, it seemed like Ronaldo was molding his son into his successor. But inside those sessions, there was more than training. There was love, a father giving his son the tools to survive a world that would never judge him fairly. Of course, Junior sometimes resisted. Sometimes, he wanted to rest, to be free from the weight of expectations. But every time he looked at his father, the man who had risen from nothing in Madeira to the peak of world football, he found a strange mix of pressure and pride. He wanted to make his father proud. Not because the world expected it, but because he loved him. This is where people often get it wrong. Ronaldo Jr. doesn't hate his father's fame. What he struggles with is the cage it builds around him. Fame gives him opportunities, but it also locks him in chains of expectation. His battle is not against his father. It is against the shadow of a name too big for any child to carry easily. And in that battle, the bond between father and son is both his shield and his sword. As Ronaldo's career reached its later years, the spotlight began to shift. Fans and media turned their eyes toward the boy who might continue the legacy. Ronaldo Jr. moved from academy to academy, following his father's transfers, learning to adapt to new cultures, new teammates, and new pressure. He was no longer just learning football, he was learning life in the fast lane. He didn't play because the world demanded it. He played because, deep down, he wanted to. And in that truth lies the answer. He may never escape the comparisons, but he doesn't need to hate his father's fame. He only needs to embrace his own journey. So, does Cristiano Ronaldo Jr. hate his father's fame? The truth is far more complex. He doesn't hate it, he struggles with it, wrestles with it, but also learns from it. Fame is both a cage and a ladder. It traps him under expectations, but it also gives him the chance to climb higher than most could dream. What he truly wants is respect, not for his last name, but for his first. He wants to be Cristiano, not just the son of Ronaldo. And that desire, that hunger to step out of the shadow, might be the very thing that makes him a legend of his own. The cameras will never stop flashing. The chants will never stop echoing his father's name. But one day, perhaps sooner than people expect, those chants might change. One day, stadiums might roar not just for Ronaldo Sr., but for the boy who turned the weight of fame into wings. And when that day comes, the world will finally see what Cristiano Ronaldo Jr. has always wanted them to see. Not a shadow, not a copy, but a star in his own right.